Yeah, he got reinstated. He's back. Hunter, did you see who's back?
Kyler, I'm going to do a Q run here while I have a chance.
I got mine out of the way of tested, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's go!
Oh my god, no way, it's the legend himself.
Holy shit, it's the Alex Daffin. We've heard so much stories about you.
The fabled legend.
Oh, I'm sure you have. Been a while.
that 87. He's right.
One more lap to go here at Indy. He ran him all the way from 3 seconds back. 2 laps to go. Oh, L2 gets spun. Oh, Matthew gets the apron around the Strexler. He spins right from the back. Huge wreck. The 2 flies up in the air. It's 3 wide. Oh, what a move by Derek. He wants to go.
Tries to send him up the hill, but can't quite do it.
Now between the 2 car lengths. Too little too late for Derek and Smith. Oh, clapping gets turned. Clapping gets turned. Oh my gosh. Side by side. 3 wide at the wire. We welcome everybody back here live for tonight's iSCAR RaceLab's Cup Series event. Glad you could tune us in here for this one as we proceed to set off round number 11 out of 20 in this season. My name is Ezeckiel Reyes.
And I'm Dewey Schramm. We've hit the midpoint here of the Talladega week. Of course, we had the wildly exciting truck race last night, which saw Brian Mullen win for the first time here in a long time. And we got the Xfinity race after this tomorrow. So for anyone that maybe didn't do as well last night, here's another opportunity to get on the right track and see if they can recreate some super speedway magic here at the longest NASCAR oval.
You say about opportunities. Here's an opportunity right here for all these drivers in this picture to maybe lose or gain points. And with a full 62 driver field here for tonight, it's gonna be wild to see on how this will all go for all these drivers out on the racetrack.
Yeah, and if you max out on bonus points, that means you could potentially gain upwards of 67 points here tonight, which is a massive point haul if you can pull that off. And if you look at Christopher Weil there, first in points again. He's been so consistent across all the different series. And you see Cole Williams there in 5th place. He's 74 points back coming into tonight, but if he maxes out on points, he could pull within just 10 points after tonight. But we look towards that chase cutoff. Corey Long currently with a 20-point advantage over Brody Gardner, but again, with those full 62 cars in here, even Joe Berge in 20th could mathematically get into 13th tonight.
Yep, that is right, and that's why I say everybody in this picture has a chance to get into the playoffs from this race alone. And this is going to be interesting to see on how this will all shuffle out, because one bad, even if you don't even make the race, this is going to be detrimental to get yourself set up for the rest of the last 2 races, because we're coming down to playoff time in a couple of weeks. So now's the time to make something happen and get yourself inside this top 13.
Yeah, again, a golden opportunity here, but also an opportunity to potentially lose out. So we'll see how all these different drivers approach this race tonight as we take a look here at the speed charts here with just a couple minutes remaining here in practice as we should get this point thing off the screen. There we go. So about a minute left here in practice, and you look at the name in 19th place. For the first time in almost 2 years, Alec Daffin is going to be running an iSCAR race. So welcome back to him as he tries to make his first race in a very, very long time. The SPM teammates of Carson and Christopher are currently 1 and 2 on the charts, so they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here tonight. But just a handful of seconds left here in practice. What are you looking forward to most here tonight?
Who's going to be the next winner in this season? We've only had one repeat winner this season, and that's Omar Diallo, who sits 22nd in the points. So everybody else has one win. Nick Miller, Michael Bianchini, Peter Kenny, Eric Heater, Dominic Howell, Kenny Brady, Anthony Burrows, and Logan Clampett, all with just one win. So we're probably going to see another first-time winner this season, season-wise, but who knows? It might be all-time-wise as well.
And that'll do it here for practice. We'll scoot ourselves off to the side briefly here as we play the national anthem, and we'll come back to qualifying. So rise up, remove your hats here tonight as we salute our nation's colors.
And we welcome everybody back here live for tonight's iSCAR event. Talladega Super Speedway presenting us a huge opportunity to broadcast, for opportunities for drivers as well as up here in the booth. And man, I expect it to be a wild run from start to finish.
No doubt about it. And again, I mentioned just a couple moments ago, the truck race only had a single caution last night, which I think caught a lot of people off guard. But we'll see if we could replicate that tonight. For the time being, qualifying just underway, so the cars at the top of the board are going to fluctuate quite a bit. Currently, it's Christopher Wilde there in the 41, but we'll see if that lap for him is good enough to keep him. He won.
Drivers work themselves through the racetrack. Of course, 62 drivers for 38 spots in qualifying is. At least, if you do the math, I don't know how much percent of the field that would be from qualifying, making it in.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but if there is any race that you do not want to be in the LCQ, it is this one with a full 62-car field here tonight. That means that there is going to be 24 cars in the LCQ gunning for just 5 spots. So qualifying in the top 38 is absolutely imperative here for tonight, because if you get stuck in that LCQ, chances are you may not make the race.
And it's 61% of the field who gets secure via qualifying. And of course, we go to the LCQ. Do the math there. 5 divided by 24, that'd be 20% of the field making it from the LCQ by itself. So it's going to be crazy for all these drivers to work themselves through and in for tonight's event.
Kyler Wynn currently on top of the board there in the 084, just by 2 1,000ths over Parker White in the 095. There's Brody Gardner looking for that chase spot. It's coming into tonight 14th in points. He qualifies 3rd for the time being, so that's a good start for the 55. And now turn our attention towards that 38th place cutoff, because that's the magic number for who is going to make it in. And as the next bit of the ticker updates, looks like, I don't know who that Williams is off the top of my head, but he's the last one in. I believe Ethan Workman currently the first one out, because Cole Williams is in the 42, so that might be a new person here tonight. We'll have to get that situated. But Blaze Crawford now into 3rd, so you see how close all those laps are, of course, since it is Super Speedway qualifying. But just 15 seconds left, so I think everyone that's going to make a lap has, and I don't think that car is going to make it.
As Michael Bianchini in the number 3, currently sitting 45th in practice, but there's still more drivers logging in some laps, as now the time has struck the double zeros, so we'll just have to find out on who are those drivers inside that LCQ here for the evening. And here we go. The first one out, drum roll please, My goodness, it's Brian Mullen just yesterday's winner in first place alongside the 60 of Eric Keplinger.
Tells you how cruel of a place Talladega can be. Row number 2, Kevin White Jr. in the 13 and the 091. That is Ernie Williams Jr. in the 091.
Ethan Workman in the number 43 will start in 5th spot. Last person currently in, Jack DeAndre, is the first one out.
Row 4, Michael DiMaggio there in the 3 tonight instead of his usual 48, and Henry Tabor in the 16.
Harrison Chandler in the number 22 had a nice run in the super speedway side of things. He rolls off 9th. Josh Patterson, big name right there, that 02 starting 10th.
Patterson comes into the night 16th in points. He needs to make it in. Row 6, Aaron Brown in the 151 and Ibrahim Dejani in the 24.
Eli O'Quinn in that number 8 machine will round out that number 8 in P13. Ethan Harrison in the 77 in 14th.
Top 15 round out here is the 05 of Jeremiah Bethune and Glenn Bundren in the 37.
There's still more drivers left to go. Sawyer St. Clair in 17th, Paul Granada 18th.
And rounding out the top 20 here, Matt McGrath in the 113 and Alex K. Gretz in the 017.
Zoltan made it in. Wow. So that's going to be a big name to work himself through the LCQ if he could even. Hunter Rupp and Tyler Connors rounding out the final row. And 5 drivers from this last chance qualifier get themselves in. Who will make it? Who will not?
Yeah, another cruel twist there in qualifying. Tyler Connors qualified 5th last night and now will roll off dead last here on the LCQ grid. So he's going to have his work cut out for him for sure. But the man I'm watching here in this LCQ is the guy leading us to the green, and that's Brian Mullen in the 17. Again, picked up his first iSCAR win in a long time last night in the truck race, and now finds himself needing to hold off a hard-charging 23 cars for 8 laps in order to get himself in tonight's race.
It's just an 8-lap event to decide this top 5. The 5 drivers who finish inside those 5 positions will get themselves a run for this 43-car event coming later tonight with 94 laps on the line.
Yeah, and with the amount of cars in the LCQ tonight, I believe we had 10 or 11 last night, but with 24 cars in the LCQ, I think we're going to see 3 wide almost immediately off the drop of the green flag. As soon as these guys get up to full speed, you're going to start to see guys that start darting up to the high side, especially if you're talking 15th place or lower on the grid, because there's only 8 laps to get yourself up there. You cannot waste any time at all. But at the same time, you also have to consider that there's probably going to be at least 1 wreck in this LCQ, so it's a very interesting game you have to play where you need to get yourself up there as quick as possible, but you run the risk of maybe getting caught up in that big one.
Yeah, that's right. Even though Talladega doesn't require a lot of wheel input, quoted a lot of talent at this racetrack, it does require a lot of multitasking skills on what kind of strategy you're going to set yourself up, your fuel, what teammates you're going to be working with, how you're going to be looking at the pack as a whole, hand-plucking drivers on who's dangerous, who's not. So those, just thinking about those things can make the difference for the end.
Yeah, and even, thinking about drivers you may not feel too comfortable racing around could end up being the biggest key to the race. So we'll see how everything plays out here, but the pace car will slide itself down to pit road. Brian Mullen and Eric Keplinger lead us to the green here of the LCQ. The top 5 of this 24-car field will move on to the main event.
On the hands on that number 17, Brian C. Mullen will see the start-finish line right about now, and the green flag will drop. Let's go racing here at Talladega. 8 laps to decide this top 5.
And look at a couple cars already thought about jumping 3 wide, wasting no time whatsoever. Good shot there from Keplinger from Ernie Williams in the 091, and he tries to clear. He can't do it, and they all go around turn 1, and 1 car goes upside down, and everybody's collected. 4 cars go flying into the air, and this is a massive wreck in turn 1 of lap 1.
And that was messy. On the matter of that, it looks like 5th place is left by himself. It's going to be a duel between Sawyer St. Clair and Aaron Brown to get themselves in for this final spot. So all these 4 drivers, all they have to do is just finish.
Yeah, I was talking about trying to get up there as quick as you can to avoid the big one, and that was the absolutely massive one, and it only took about 10 seconds for that wreck to happen. And you see all these cars here with damage, and they're all spread out as Keplinger takes the race lead. Mullen, despite getting hooked at first, managed to save his race car, and he sits 4th. So Keplinger, Kevin White, DeAndrea Mullen, and Sawyer St. Clair currently the first 5 that will advance, as Sawyer St. Clair had gotten by that 151, but what a chaotic start to the night.
You were right. It was going to be a bit messier than what we saw last night, and off the drop of the green, already a big wreck. And I think that was all sparked off by Ernie Williams Jr. But in the meantime of that, they're starting to stack up for this final spot. And for Sawyer St. Clair, he is not left alone, as here comes Clapper with a run. He has a cleaner car than Aaron Brown, and he's going to probably shoot to the front. So it's going to be a 4-car duel for this 5th spot.
Solid move there by Clapper in the 34, who was the first car out of the race last night. So trying to get himself into the race this time. And the advantage, of course, with having a cleaner car than the 3 behind him, as it looks like he may have threaded the needle in that wreck. And you see some people still on the apron. Contact!
Oh my
God! Oh no! Oh no! And Matt McGrath got stuck in the wall and got flung into the air, and his night is without a doubt over. So the chaos continues here, and another car has bitten the dust, and now it is down to Clapper and Sawyer St. Clair for this final spot.
I think Sawyer is actually fairly damaged on that machine. You see a bit of left front. He has more left front damage than his right front. So both sides of his car is damaged. The question is how much can you stuck up to the car in front of you, that number 34 Henry Clapper? What I would do, in my opinion, if it was the white flag right now, drag the brake just a bit and use the momentum from a bigger run toward the back to get past that 34.
Again, with no help behind you, that's pretty much the only thing he can do. As we might have a battle for the lead here soon, as they got to get around that damaged car. That might be Patterson, but I'm not 100% sure. And if it is Patterson, that's going to be a huge hit to him in the points, coming in 16th in tonight's race. They're still single file for now, coming to 4 to go. But I do wonder if one of these guys may try to get a bit greedy, perhaps, maybe go for the race lead.
It wouldn't make a difference. Honestly, all 4 of them. I mean, position-wise, it will make a difference, but making the race, it won't. So, for right now, all our eyes are on this number 34, Henry Clapper, and it looks like Sawyer sort of laying back. He might be aiming for that run, what he needs to pass this number 34.
Yeah, and if these two end up tangling at some point, Aaron Brown is the next car, almost 8 seconds back of these two, and I think that 121 might have just a little bit of damage, because he can't quite seem to suck up to the back of that 34 very well. But still 3 laps to go to determine if that 121 can make a move. Still single file here for the top 4, with Keplinger pacing the 4 of them. I think Mullen might be making a move up high, or thought about it, but files back in line there behind DeAndrea.
Yeah, for Eric Keplinger, Kevin White, Jack DeAndrea, and Brian Mullen will easily get themselves into tonight's race as long as they finish where they are. And for that number 17 of Brian C. Mullen, not typically you see some drivers make it to and around the super speedway side, but they'll have a chance coming to after these 2 laps.
I still can't believe how big of a wreck that was.
Yeah, that was a bigger wreck than what the first caution, or only caution provided just yesterday.
Yeah, this is only the LCQ, but hopefully this isn't a precursor to what we see tonight. Just 2 to go here in the LCQ. Keplinger, White, DeAndrea, Mullen, 1 through 4 still in the same order. Clapper still about a couple tenths up on Sawyer St. Clair, and see the amount of damage that Aaron Brown has. He's lost another, looks like 6 seconds to those 5th and 6th place cars. So I think all attention now has got to be on Sawyer St. Clair to see if he can make a move on that 34, but with no help behind him, I just don't know if he can do it.
I wouldn't make a move. Just keep yourself steady and out of harm's way and get yourself in. Still all eyes on this 5th spot of what can Sawyer do to pass this number 34. But as you mentioned, for that 121's damage, it's not helping him a lot. And he's starting to lose a bit of ground to that number 34 Clapper.
As the leaders come to take the white flag here, Keplinger and Kevin White still 1-2. I think Mullen might be sending messages in the chat as he runs in 4th, but risky business, I guess. Kevin White, he might try to make a move here out of turn 2. He's got a bit of a run on Keplinger, and here he goes. He sends it up high, and Mullen's going to go up there with him, so we could have a move for the lead here, and indeed we do. Kevin White trying to get a bit of a draft off that lapped car as well, and we'll see if he can clear, but it looks like he can't. And here comes Keplinger on the bottom, and Mullen takes it 3 for the lead.
And because of that, Kevin White Jr. gets dipped out to dry as Patterson plays a lap car roll. Everybody moves away from him and out of harm's way to the start-finish line. Looks like Kevin has another run, so 3 wide. Oh, get him at the line!
And he slingshots him into the line. Kevin White Jr. takes the LCQ over Keplinger. And a great move as Sawyer St. Clair is going to take it down pit road. So Clapper will be the 5th and final car to advance, as that position will not be counted for Sawyer St. Clair, of course. So congratulations to Kevin White, Eric Keplinger, Brian Mullen, Jack DeAndre, and Henry Clappert on advancing themselves into tonight's main event.
Yep. Clappert, last person in, and looks like Sawyer's damage did not do him well.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, man, that big wreck. Ooh, that was messy. But I want to see what happened on the.
Yeah, we got to see that first lap wreck again. That was unreal. But I think the 091 tried to clear. I think he was pushing Keplinger across the line, and he sees that gap between Mullen and Kevin White, and he tries to file in line right here, but he's not clear. Hits Mullen, comes down in front of Ethan Workman, and then everybody gets collected.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That was messy.
Unbelievably hard hits for 8, 9, 10 cars, and that's how we ended up with such a spread out field. And said it last night, and I'll say it again. That's how one small mistake can literally wipe out over half the field.
Yeah, you said it just yesterday. One small mistake could result in a big pileup, and unfortunately for for all those drivers and such who were involved in that incident on lap number 1, a really early end for their hopes of getting in this 43 car event.
Yeah, their nights were pretty much over before they really started, unfortunately. They didn't even have a chance to get through that wreck with how blocked the track became, and that's just one of those deals, unfortunately. But they'll have another opportunity tomorrow night in the Xfinity race to maybe reverse their fortunes and see if they can get themselves on the right track. But for Josh Patterson specifically, that's going to be a massive hit to him, again, as he came in 16th in points and will not qualify for tonight's race. So he's going to really have his work cut out for him over the next 2 races.
Yeah, and for Patterson to for him to get wrecked on lap number 1 of the LCQ, that has to be just so frustrating, as you see some drivers going to fling it on a pit road and have a bit of fun and work themselves on in, maybe practicing their pit entry. And
I was just about to say, that's smart of them to try to do that. We saw not much, but we saw a little bit of contact last night during green flag stops. So you want to get that nailed down to a science before you have to do it tonight, because we have a 94-lap race. So there's an opportunity potentially for upwards of 3 perhaps green flag stops. Probably 2, but maybe 3, depending on what people do in terms of strategy. So that's something you definitely want to get down and figure out before the race starts, because you don't want to make that mistake during the race.
Yeah, that's right. And you mentioned about pit road and people practicing on in. I think your pit stops are already, your pit stall is already set right now. So, of course, this also gives drivers the advantage to look at where their pit stall is. And you see right there, the last person in of Henry Clappert in that number 34 is the very, very last pit stall versus your pole sitter, who's all the way toward the front, that 084 of Kyler Wynn.
I think Clappert has the absolute toughest entry to pit road out of everybody, because if you come in hot and your pit stalls, within the first 10 or 15, you have ample time to get it slowed down enough where you can pull in. But if somebody that advances from the LCQ speeds too much on pit road, then you're almost guaranteed to overshoot your pit stall. So for them, they especially need to make sure they can get these pit stops nailed down.
Yep, that is right. That is a really good point to point out. For these top 5 drivers, especially, so basically all these LCQ drivers who work themselves through, and hopefully they can make something happen off of those positions. But in my opinion, I'd like to have a pit stop that's more toward the middle of pit road, because I don't want to be the first one out, as Keplinger does a reverse blow over there, but I don't want to be the first one, the first pit stall out, because as you're coming out off of pit road and you're already seeing that wide track in front of you, who knows who, it's going to be hard to gauge on how you're going to exit pit road with a group, for being that first pit stall versus being around that middle portion.
It looks like that was not taken into consideration when the track was scanned, but for me personally, my favorite pit stall would be one either right before or right after a garage opening on the inside.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know if this pit road has any.
They should have there's one.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, there's one, I think. So that's the best place to be if you're that blue car right there, either right before or right after the garage opening. That is the absolute best place, in my opinion, to have a pit stall. But so for Eduardo Munez, he's got a pretty good stall here for tonight. And now we're ready to grid up here for the 94-lap main event. And we'll get the starting lineup here for you on the bottom of your screen. And rolling off, or leading the field here to the green, will be Kyler Wynn in the 084 and Parker White in the 095.
Congratulations for those two. They will be your front row here for tonight's event. Row number 2 going to be Carson Poindexter, and that number 21, Blaze Crawford, right alongside of him.
Brody Gardner in the 55, and will roll off 5th, and Mitch Hobbs to his outside in the 89.
89 of Mitch Hobbs, a super speedway champion, and rolling off in row number 4, Liam Sheen in the number 1 machine, has 1 super speedway win in the shootout a few years prior, and Hunter Johnson, that number 12, has never been in victory lane on a super speedway.
Came really close last night. Rounding out the top 10 here, Omar Diallo looks like he'll be in the 18 tonight instead of the 9, and Cole Williams in the 42. Rest of the order will be shown on the bottom of your screen. Pick your favorite driver or just somebody you like and hope they win or do pretty good. And as we score our way through the field, there's Nick Miller in the 95. Came into tonight, I believe, 2nd in the points. So this is an important night for him. There's points leader Christopher Weil, who'll roll off 17th. And as we can make our way towards the back half of the top 20, there's Nick Roten back in the 53. A lot of numbers look like they've changed tonight from what people usually run, so perhaps some session stuff going on there.
Yeah, if one person joins in as the wrong number, everybody joins in as the wrong, everybody gets mixed up and such like that.
It's a chain reaction.
That's right. So you can't really prevent much as soon as one driver joins himself in. And for Alec Daffin, my goodness, when was the last time we saw him?
Sometime in 2019. It's been a very long time since he's last been here in a race, but good to see him back. William Schmidt, he came into tonight 3rd in points. He's starting a bit deep in the field as well, so that 79 is going to have his work cut out for him. But I'm curious to see what that 47 can do. Again, he hasn't raced in such a long time, but how rusty will he be, or will he pick up right where he left off? That remains to be seen here tonight in a full 43-car field here for the next 94 laps, and I am really excited to see how this race pans out.
Yep, same here, and woo! Oh boy. We are gonna have like a few pit starters. Oh, that's more than a few. That's a ton of drivers.
That's a good chunk of people. That's almost 10 people.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing about pit starting here is, see that car all the way toward the back? That's Brian Mullen. He's not going to be tagged on to these 10 drivers because they're going to be exiting pit road before he does. Way, like, at least 10 seconds after the matter of fact, but it's going to be hard for Mullen to make something happen off of that.
Agreed. Race analytics here on the bottom left of your screen. 2.66 miles superspeedway is this Talladega Superspeedway. Noon session time, so it's going to be a pretty slick and hot track out there. Pit road speed of 55 miles per hour, so these guys are going to be slowing down from upwards of perhaps 200 miles per hour to just 55. So pit road speeding penalties are probably going to happen at least once tonight. 5 tire sets over these 94 laps. I don't imagine that anybody's going to use all 5 of them. In the fuel window of 35 to 40 laps, that should be a 2-stop race.
I expect some drivers to maybe short pit that pit stop just a bit, just to get themselves situated and split the run into thirds for their strategy. But the question is on who's going to even work with them for that strat. In the meantime of that, iSCAR scoots itself onto pit road. Glad you could tune us in here for tonight's event as the iSCAR hits the Talladega Superspeedway for the 2nd annual Talladega 250. They worked themselves through the tri-oval, and for Kyler Wynn in the 184, he will lead the field to the green.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag!
One car already shoots it 3 wide on the outside. I think there might be... It's one of those... What that Napa car is. Already one car on the apron, I think, trying to get out of everybody's way and drop into the back. So we'll see. We'll probably see quite a few people decide to drop onto the apron out of turn 2 to perhaps avoid early carnage like what we just saw in the LCQ.
They get themselves through cleanly.
Or no one.
Yeah, it seems as though it's either you pit start or not, but for Omar Diallo in that number 18 machine, it seems as though he's going to elect to go to the back. Will shove himself into turn number 3 onto the asphalt surface. Not really considering the apron as asphalt surface, I meant by a racing surface, but in the meantime of that, top 5 with a different scenario, they pull themselves away, and they will lead this field coming to lap number 1.
I'm curious to see how far back all these pit starters are going to end up being, because again, I don't think they can actually go off pit road until all the leaders have taken the green, so they're going to be quite a ways back, but hopefully they're all grouped together and they can at least stay relatively close. But the 095 of Parker White has overtaken the race lead here from the 084 of Kyler Wynn. Blaze Crawford now leads the outside with help from, I believe, Liam Sheen, and that's Bianchini in the 48 now in 6th on the high side.
Yeah, they're starting to get regrouped very, very slowly. It takes about, I'd say, 5-6 laps for everybody to really regroup themselves. And Bianchini's going to make a run for that high side, but nobody to go with him. All events are on the bottom side of the racetrack where everybody's just lined up nose to tail, but they're still holding it strong on the high side.
I wonder if Bianchini's trying to keep the nose a bit cool.
I wouldn't necessarily say he wants to keep the nose cool on that machine because, I mean, that number 1 of Liam Sheen, now he's sort of fading away from Blaze Crawford's bumper, but that one's been tucked up to the rear end. That 404 as here we go for the lead. Kyler Wynn to the high side.
Did someone just get turned on the bottom?
Not really sure.
I could have sworn I just saw someone get turned down to the inside wall, but that may have been just someone dropping in the back.
Yeah, it looks like somebody just dropped to the back. Might have been very abrupt. Or you might have been right. Not really sure.
Looks like Brody Gardner may have been in some trouble. That may have been a save on his part, but I could have sworn somebody did get sent down there, so hopefully that wasn't much of anything, as Blaze Crawford leads that lap at the line, but looks like Kyler's probably going to have a run here on the bottom to retake the lead.
Yep, and here we go. The pack now regroups themselves as they work down the back straightaway. One car drops to the apron. He won't be a factor in this lap for shenanigans. Some drivers shuffling in and around as Eric Heater finds a hold of the inside. He'll move in 5th in line. But up on the high side, it's still Blaze Crawford and Liam Sheen. Even though they've gotten side by side with the leader, they're not been able to have the run that they've wanted to pull forward. So they're sort of laying around as of right now. But 3 wide action, and here comes a man we haven't really talked about all season. That number 10 of looks like Nick and Delicato. Gonna go with the 48, Michael Bianchini. Oh!
Ooh. And Delicato's won a couple races, though, this season. I believe he won, I want to say, 2 truck races earlier on in the season, but hasn't showed up in a little bit, so good to see him back here tonight. We'll see what that 10 car has in store for this field. And there's Heater in the 28 up on the high side. He's already won this week in the Super Lates at Irwindale, so he's trying to get his 2nd win of the week, but a little bit of blinking issues there for that 28 right now.
Two by two, into the front straightaway they go. Now I'd say it's 2 rows of 8. I mean, not 2 rows of 8. 8 rows of 2 by 2 action. As
2 rows of 8 would be really bad.
Yeah, what in the world? Heater takes the lead with a run on the high side, and Crawford and Sheen have really gone nowhere. As they're going to be joined in by the 95 and Miller. All the
I think that's... Yeah, that extra car is going to help them now as they try to get their way up there. 084 hits the apron just a little bit. If you do that too many times, that could be a bad thing, as looks like Sheen might be pulling out a line to cool off the nose a bit, as we are running increased tape than we did the last time we were at Talladega. So these guys have to consider that, you know, if you push for too long, your engine might just expire. So we're going to see that probably plenty of times tonight, guys just pulling out on the top like that and staying by themselves for a bit.
Outside line fell apart as soon as Sheen dipped out, but never mind at that. It precipitates as Wynn and Weil go to the high side. Whoa. Even higher goes Blaze Crawford. We'll see who joins that 404, but looks like nobody as Berkey drops himself to the apron. All the help is now toward the middle, so we'll see what the 53 of Nick Roten could do as well. He's going to shove it 3 wide. Oh, they're scrambling in and around. This is going to be a bit dangerous as drivers get reorganized.
I don't know if Wiles dropping to the back or maybe trying to cool off the engine. It's hard to tell for the time being, but here comes Parker White jumping up in front of Kyler Wynn, trying to retake that lead up high. But at the line, it looks like he's going to get it, and he should be able to clear here into turn 1. And there he goes.
So we have 2 separate packs, by the way.
Yeah, it looks like around 21st place is where the cutoff is, and with Omar Diallo. And then there's that second pack a bit further back, and then there's a couple people pit starting. Seth Rawls in the 25 leading this smaller second pack, and then I believe these are the pit starters even further back. Back up front, and Delicato and Hess almost some contact there as they stay behind the 084 up on that high side. Parker White still leads this field out of turn 4.
Yeah, even though this main pack is really shuffling a lot, I'd say it's way more tame than what you have in that second and third pack, because even though this whole front end of this front pack is scrambling a lot, it's really, really organized. Matter of fact, they're faster than everybody else on the racetrack because they're pushing the issue. So if you're that second pack, I would try to get 2 by 2 and force up two lines of momentum to get yourself rolling. As of right now, they're not doing it. They're just all staying in single file line and just running around for right now. As looks like Brian C. Mullen, that's 17. We were just talking about him, how he was the last car on pit road. It seems as though he's going to go 1 lap down.
Yeah, and by having that pit stall further back than everyone else, he wasn't able to latch onto that small pack that pit started. So last night's winner will be the first one a lap down here on lap number 10. So he'll try to latch on now to the back of this pack and hope he can get the free pass if a caution comes out.
Oh, got a wreck!
Oh no! Was that Bianchini?
I think it was. And they slide down the... Oh, watch out. Oh, it looks like that second pack reacted. Oh, now we got a caution.
Is that... It looks like
That's
Poindexter in the 21. What in the world was that?
Oh, Poindexter just destroyed. His whole car is crabbing. So...
Oh, yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he's done for. That was...
What? That was bizarre. Looks like Bianchini was all by himself, and then all of a sudden he was just around. There was some shuffling going on.
But that was after the fact that the caution came out. But just hit the wall. Oh, that's a hard hit.
And Poindexter almost goes up down, and I don't know what in the world that 48 was doing there, but just hit the wall and came down and clobbered that 21. That was weird.
Can't really say much, but Michael
just sends it into the out. I wonder if that may have been a hardware issue though, like a wheel disconnection, because it looks like coming out of the turn, it just went straight up into the wall. That was really weird.
Can't say much, but caution comes out anyway. Two drivers are probably going to be eliminated from competition, unfortunately, after a fairly interesting wreck off of turn number 2 brings out our first yellow. And this, in turn, will probably drag everybody onto pit road for their first pit stop.
And Carson came into tonight 4th in points. He's got a 28-point gap on 5th, but not the night that 21 wanted to have. And it looks like if he can't get it back out there, it's going to be a 42nd place finish, as Malachi Drake did not grid for the race. Oh no, now he's out there. But the free pass will go to Brian Mullen in the 17, as nobody else was lapped before the caution came out. What a weird wreck.
In the meantime of that, everybody shuffles themselves onto pit road, so this will regroup the field together.
A couple people in the back staying out.
Very interesting to see not a lot of people stay themselves out, because if you pit now, you're still going to have to pit for at least 2 more pit stops. And we were just talking about contact on pit road. You see right there? Luckily for all those drivers, they clip through each other.
Looks like a couple people may have missed their pit stalls. I think Heater and Delicato and Roten all missed, as they have zeros next to their pit time, so that's not ideal for them. So I think they're going to have to either pit next time or just stay out for the restart. And it looks like Joe Berge and Frank DeAngelis are also going to stay out here for the restart.
Yeah, so Joe and Frank stay out. Frank was actually one of those pit starters, so he'll shuffle himself to the front. Looks like Indelicato, Eric Heater, Nick Roten, Henry Clappert, Alec Daffin, James Youngman, Mitch Hobbs, Connor Brennan all overshot their pit stop in some sort of way. So yeah, that's the 5th of the field. Didn't see their stall in time, and we were just talking about during warm-up on how the stalls are already set. It looks like they really didn't pay attention to the warm-up rather than screw around, and unfortunate for them, they're going to be in bad track position for this next restart.
Thankfully for them, though, it's Talladega, where you can literally get from around 30th place to the top 5 in about 1 or 2 laps. So it's not all bad, of course, if you get a penalty that sends you back there. But if you miss your pit stall, it wouldn't shock me if some of those guys maybe come down and pit now.
Here goes those drivers who overshot their stall. Probably going to go back on the pit road. Yet again, Berge elects to go on the pit road, so reminded of that. For that number 83 to lead the field to the green. We're also at an interesting point of the race in which I think you'll see a lot of drivers work themselves on the pit road just to top it off and maybe save fuel off of pit road, because if you save enough, you could one-stop it, but that is so ambiguous and such an aggressive strategy that saving with now 82 laps to go, you're gonna have to be able to save it for both runs. rather than just one, because the latest you're going to hit pit road with this first run is going to be around, looks like 40-ish to go. And that by itself, you can't make it on a fuel tank unless you save at least 2 or 3 laps. So, if this race only has one caution and you opted for a one-stop strategy, you're not going to be able to really push the issue, or else you're going to use up too much fuel, and you're not going to be able to really gun for anything unless all the other cars around you are on the same strategy. So I just find that very interesting.
The main issue with topping off on fuel is that I think all those guys are not going to have to restart single file instead of double file, which is going to potentially mess up the restart a bit.
Yeah, that too is correct. These drivers who hit pit road are probably going to get disconnected really, really easily, because this line is going to be at least 38, 39 cars deep on the inside, and you can't jump the restart. If you do, it's going to be a black flag, and all restarts are going to be on green, so luckily they'll know when to go. But the question is on how they're going to get regrouped. Because, man, look at this. This looks like a... what you call it? I don't know what kind of comparison I could come up with this, but this is a very, very long line.
It looks like an old NASCAR race where before the double file restart was implemented.
Yeah, just about.
Where they just had the lap cars on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But the pace car will shoot itself down to pit road. You see only the top 3 rows are double file, and then everybody else from 7th on back is all single file. So this is going to be a really interesting restart, and it would not shock me if people immediately jump up high.
And look at that, they're already fanned out and maybe trying to jump the restart to get themselves going even faster. So, oh, this is going to be a big stack up around this position, but green flag is out, and already people pulling out of line. This is a result of people, you know, coming down on the pit road with 1 lap to go, but looks like everybody just got off evenly.
It looks like the first 10 or 15 cars may all be grouped together, but what's probably going to happen is all those guys that are single file further back are eventually going to be 2-3 wide on their own, and within the next 4 or 5 laps, it'll probably result in 2 big packs merging together into one massive one.
Question is, can this first pack get formed up quicker than that second pack to gap that second pack enough? And seems as though they are, so we'll see what happens this exchange off the restart. But right now, for Frank DeAngelis in this number 69, he leads the field with 4 cars right behind him.
And it looks like there really isn't a second pack that's formed yet. A lot of them are still single file on the bottom, but 2x2 looks like 5-6 rows deep here already in this first pack as 69 leads his first lap on the green.
Delicado washes himself up to the high side. No help to be seen with that Evo machine, so he'll drop outside of this top 10. In the meantime of that, the 69 of Frank DeAngelis is trying to play his cards out right. Top 3 are all independent drivers, so can't get yourself in a bad position, or else you're going to get swamped in by all those drivers who are on teams.
Kyle winning the 084 leads that high side as he tries to get past that 69 of DeAngelis. Not quite there yet, but one big push here through the tri-oval should be able to get him in a position where he can clear to the bottom.
Work themselves with the tri-oval side by side for the top spot. The man who's going to lead it at the line, DeAngelis by a nose over the 084, not Clapper, but Kyler Wynn. Joe Berge in the 83, even though he went on to pit road, it seems as though he was the first car out, and he only hit pit road 1 time rather than twice, so a very smart maneuver for that number 83, not only to top off on fuel, but also be one of those cars first off of pit road, now up in this lead draft.
Yeah, great call by him there, and that's going to put him into the top 5. And a big block by Kyler Wynn. I don't know what in the world was going on there. That's going to cost both of them some spots, as now Garrett Hess and Blaze Crawford will now be the first cars up high, and that really did a number on that outside line, at least for the next lap or so.
I wouldn't say that was a block. The 83 of Berge was sort of following that 084 of Kyler Wynn and chased him up the racetrack.
That was a weird occurrence, though, whatever it was. It looked like a block at first to me, but nonetheless, here comes Garrett trying to get a good run now on Parker and Frank, but he needs that outside to start reforming again, because for right now, they're still too disconnected to really make a run.
Stack up 2 by 2, but only 8 cars really missing with his top spot. For that top spot, though, Garrett Hess works himself to the front. We'll see what that number 69 of Frank DeAngelis could do. Parker's going to hop up to the high side, and he has a teammate right behind him. I think that's the 404 Blaze Crawford. I'm not sure if they're teammates, but I'm sure they know each other very well.
Yeah, and that outside still hasn't quite materialized, but here comes DeAngelis jumping up there. So now it should start to get its momentum back. And indeed, the 69 gets a huge shot from Parker White, and he will be able to clear. And I think he's trying to drag Parker, and indeed he does. So both of them will become 1 and 2, as Blaze Crawford now first up high, but with no help.
3 wide in the background as Brody Gardner tries to make a third line, but unfortunate for him, 2 cars ain't gonna cut it. But luckily for him, that middle, the middle portion of the track, that second lane, only has 2 cars. So the more cars you have in your line, the better it'll move. And for right now, it's all for the bottom of Frank DeAngelis in that number 69. He currently leads it as of right now. Still 3 wide action up on the high side as the middle now starts to get more help.
Yeah, again, 3 cars up there isn't going to quite be enough. I think Brody could maybe clear on Blaze, but with the middle groove having more cars in the high side, I don't know if that will really materialize into anything. There's Kevin White Jr. in the 13, the LCQ winner. He's now up here in this top 10 for the first time tonight, so we'll see if that 13 can get something done here in the next couple laps and maybe even get to the lead.
Oh, looks like Parker White got a bit hot, so he'll move to the middle side.
And that's going to disrupt the inside.
Yeah, and we'll see what this high side could do, but now it's only Kyler Wynn and Brody Gardner up on that high side. No help to avail that number 55, but he's rolling anyway. The question is, how hot is the 084 Kyler Wynn going to be?
And something these guys are going to have to worry about for a duration of the race. We've already seen a couple people pulling out a line at different times to cool off the engine, and looks like that may have been what Parker White was trying to do there. But he might be able to clear into 3, but it looks like he doesn't have enough run in order to do that. So DeAngelis should get the lead back in out of 4, and he already is there again.
Luckily for him, he has a devout pusher, that number 77 of Garrett Hess right behind him. Hess is going to do all he can and work that that bottom side of the racetrack. Right behind him is that number 95 of Nick Miller, who's been in victory lane multiple times here at Talladega. Picked up his first ever victory here at this racetrack in the Xfinity Series back then. But now he has a hold of the high side and move that number 95 into third on the high side, as looks like the 36 Benjamin A. White going to drop out of this mix. But of course, all this scrambling has really disrupted this top spot. They're really disorganized now.
Yeah, the outside's falling apart here to almost nothing, and the 3 wide especially now gone, as there goes Blaze Crawford on the 404 up high, but has no help right now. So when these next 3 cars get to him, they're probably going to shoot at 3 wide to go around him. But we'll see if that is the case. But the 095 still leads at the line, and you see a second pack starting to form up. Looks like a second or 2 behind this first pack, so we'll see if that second pack can get themselves closer and make a bigger pack here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, I think once we start to see them stack up from the front end, the front of this pack all the way to the back half of this field, you'll see a third line start to condense. But now the 83 of Berge is going to work himself to the high side. No help to avail that number 83. So we'll see what Benjamin A. White will do unless Berge can get back in line into that second groove. But right now, two distinct lines as these drivers work themselves through. Oh! Whoa. Big wiggle as the 84 of Bachman gets sideways. And
yeah, I was going to say he needs to get up quick because he can't go into the turn on the apron still with that much speed. But thankfully, finds a gap. But that could have been a really bad wreck there. But thankfully, it is not. And here comes the outside once again. Crawford leading it now with Miller in tow. And looks like that second pack starting to catch this first one. So we're going to have a pack of probably around 35 cars now in here into turn 3.
total of 39 cars in this main draft as of right now. The number 29 of Eduardo Munoz is sort of left on his own. But in the meantime of that, they start to stack up 2 by 2.
Whoa.
Oh, big wiggle there by the 69 to DeAngelis. He drops him to the apron, but luckily gets it back onto the racetrack. That'll disrupt the inside line, and to the lead, Blaze Crawford for the first time tonight.
I think Miller wanted to come down as well, but the gap between Parker White and him was not big enough for him to go down there. We saw how detrimental doing that could be in the LCQ, and Ernie Williams tried to come down but wasn't clear, so hopefully we don't see a repeat of that here in the race. But nonetheless, the 404 now into the race lead here for the first time tonight. Now we've got SPM teammates in Miller and Gardner working together up high.
Oh, I thought the 404 was going to try to block that middle lane, but looks like couldn't have the opportunity to, because Miller had such a run off of 4. They go side by side for this top spot at the line. Not really sure who led that one, but it was close.
Miller got it. Yeah, it looks like Miller by a nose at the line. Parker clips the apron just a bit, but no harm, no foul. 404 still leads on the bottom, but the outside really starting to get formed up now, as there's a good 8-9 cars all up there in the train. Looks like they're a bit disconnected, though.
Yeah, and again, it's really, really early in the race. You don't want to make too aggressive moves, as Kyler Wynn is trying to make one right there. Oh, Bergie's on the apron.
Bergie on the apron. And he's going to get out of harm's way, but he's scrubbed off quite a bit of speed, and some people have to take some evasive action there around him, but look at all the time he's losing. But hopefully he doesn't lose enough where he can still latch onto the draft towards the back.
I think there's just so many cars on the lead draft right now. 39 cars still in this main pack. That 83 is going to be saved by all those people who are sort of deciding to lay themselves back. I mean, this field stretches from the middle of the back straightaway all the way to off of probably the exit of turn number 2, so it's still a long, long line of cars for Bergie to get in.
Here comes Miller trying to get a run on Blaze, but I think Brody's trying to get some air to the engine there briefly, so the outside will be disrupted for the time being, and then Miller jumps way up high, and that's going to cost him quite a few spots, as now Brody will be the leader of the high side.
Now Miller's going to elect to go to the back as, another car that's sideways on the apron, the 46! That would be Patrick Mush. He'll get himself back onto the racing surface.
He throws a lot of speed, but gets it slowed down enough where he can stay on the apron, and he'll have to find a gap like Bergie to merge up. So we've seen a couple of cars now get flung down there. Hopefully that does not result in a crash.
Yeah, it seems as though a lot of people are loose through the tri-oval. Even though there's a full throttle racetrack, cars still get loose. And it just depends on how you're inputting into the wheel. The smoother you are, the better you'll be. And running a higher steering ratio could also save you in times like these, in which you're sort of tensed up right behind a driver, and you're trying to sort of correct your car in the middle of the straightaway, or hence the tri-oval in this scenario. As you see it yet again, a lot of drivers are jotting out sideways, and that destroys the back half of this inside line. Look how many cars are flinging up there to the second line.
Yeah, Gardner and Crawford now side by side, some pretty wide around, looks like 15th or so. I think they're probably going to file back in to the second line. And I think Brody's going to have a shot to clear into turn 3. Not quite, because he couldn't quite get enough of a run to come down. And it looks like DeAngelis gets shoved down into the apron. Contact between Miller and Urick's going to put the 6 into the wall. Miller's trying to hold on to it. And a big scramble here out of turn 4. And they all managed to save it.
Oh my gosh, wow! And Urick was, I'm not really sure what he was doing, but him and Miller made contact, and look at this pack. They're all over the place now. They gotta get themselves regrouped ASAP, or else it's gonna be a while for them to catch this top spot, because look at that, only 7-8 cars in this main pack, really to make something off of it.
What a weird occurrence there, but yeah, that's really spread this pack out. But thankfully, everybody was able to keep that straight, and that did not result in a wreck. But we've had quite a few close calls here over the last couple laps.
Get a replay of that. I'm interested to see what happened, but looks like, DeAngelis was on the apron, 3 wide. Miller sort of washed up the racetrack, and Max held his line. I think Max thought Frank was still on the apron.
And Clappert runs into the 34, so that
Wow,
34
what a save.
is going to... Or Clappert runs into the 95, so that 34 is going to have a bit of front-end damage now as a result of that contact. But hopefully that isn't too detrimental for him throughout the race.
Seems as though they're still semi-together, but everybody's just now in a single-file line because of this big scramble. It's all now 2x2 toward the front as drivers get them, or attempt to sort of catch this lead draft. The man who's left by himself in 8th place is Frank DeAngelis, who is the person on the apron at the time of the event. So he is now sort of stuck on an island of his own, but here comes those drivers trying to regroup themselves toward this top spot. This will be the 028 of Jack DeAndrea as well as Michael Rosero.
Looks like the 54 Trexler may have a bit of front-end damage as well. I can't quite tell. And that's a big blinker, whoever that is. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Actually, that person may have just fallen out.
Okay, now they're starting to regroup themselves, so we got at least now a pack of, I'd say, looks like a pack of 18 drivers. And they'll separate the pack yet again to these drivers right behind, but this pack led by the 36 of Benjamin A. White. Scroll a bit even more back, and this is the tail end of it. This is A.J. Bain in the number 50 machine. And even further back is a third pack, so because of that big scramble, a lot of people are now in small pods, but still the biggest pack up front, as of right now, led by the 084 Kyler Wynn.
Yeah, that really spread everything out. Thankfully, no wreck ensued as Kyler Wynn still leads this field, as Liam Sheen in the 1, now third on the bottom as he's back up there again. And the outside looks like it's still a bit disconnected, as the top 3 of Hess, Crawford, and DeAndre don't really have any other help until they can catch up behind them.
And now we're getting reorganized again as Brody moves himself to the middle in front of the 75 of Blake Kennedy. And still, there's a severe blinker on the low side. Everybody moving themselves up to the high side. That would be Michael Rosero in the number 23. And you see in result how nobody's wanting to be around that number 23 as of right now. So, sort of a sketchy situation around this 13th position as now Rosero drops himself to the apron and out of harm's way.
Yeah, he probably recognized he was blinking too much and didn't want to potentially cause anything to happen. As Garrett Hess in the 777 is now
got
the leader. Oh, we got a caution. Keplinger's going around in the middle, and he gets hit by, I don't think that's the 12.
That's the 12.
Hunter. Yeah, Hunter Johnson in some trouble and runs into the 60 again. And hopefully those are the only 2 cars involved in this.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. We're going to look here. There was I think there was someone stops down there, but that had, of course, nothing to do with what just occurred here. So Keplinger's behind Heater into turn 3, and DeAngelis has a run on him, and it looks like the 69 just got right into the 60 and hooked him. And let's see who else hits him. Oh, right into the door for Hunter. And it looks like a bit of contact between AJ and another car trying to avoid. There's Mullen going to the low side, and I think that might be it for the wreck. I don't know if there were any other cars involved further back trying to scramble. So somehow we've had 2 cautions, and both of them involved only 2 cars. So we've been extremely fortunate that the wrecks tonight so far have not been bigger than they have been.
Seems as though the 69 of DeAngelis was just trying to push in the middle of the corner. And of course, just
risky
pushing.
Business.
Yeah, it's risky business pushing into the middle corner like that. That number 69 was playing with danger right there, and unfortunately, he turned the 60 of Keplinger in result.
That'll be an EOL for sure for him.
Oh, no doubt about it. So now pit road's open this time by, and now you won't really have to worry about that first stop. So it's going to be a big, I wouldn't necessarily say a big reset going back on a pit road like this, but it'll for sure factor in on fuel-wise and strategy as we progress here with the night.
Hopefully nobody overshoots their pit stall this time. We saw quite a few cars do that last time. Looks like some cars already completing their service, so perhaps some fuel-only stops going on. Even though these guys have 5 tire sets, again, I don't envision anybody in the field actually using all 5. I think people are probably going to use 2 at the most. Because, of course, tires are nowhere near as big of a factor on plate tracks as they are, all the other tracks we go to on the circuit.
Right. All these drivers who are still on pit road just sort of minding their own business. There's a lot of things that you could do just laying back on a pit road. Of course, regroup yourself with teammates. Just lay back and, of course, give yourself a bit of a break and take a deep breath after that big run.
Yeah, the 2 races so far this week have been pretty clean. As hopefully that's not a jinx of any means, but only 1 caution in the truck race last night and only 2 minor ones so far tonight. But still 60 laps to go. Anything could happen over the next, of course, the remaining 2/3 or so of the race. As Hess leads here at the caution. There's Carson Poindexter back out on the racetrack. I don't know how many laps down he is. We saw the contact with him and Bianchini that brought the first yellow out. And looks like he's down 6 laps. So he's going to need quite a bit of help in order to get back on the lead lap. And with Malachi Drake 4 laps down ahead of him, I don't know if he'll be able to get back on the lead lap before this thing's over.
We'll just have to see. In the meantime of that, Garrett Hess in the 777, the man who won the Xfinity race last season, is leading this field to the green. See more drivers working themselves on the pit road again. Again, very interesting why these drivers are hitting pit road, because it's still going to be a one-stop race from this point forward, but I guess they just want to shuffle to the back, get themselves out of harm's way. Yeah, you see how many drivers stay out the second wave this time. So rather than opting with a viable second strategy, it looks like all these drivers who hit pit road are just wanting to shuffle themselves to the rear.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting call to make. Trying to probably avoid maybe another wreck like we just saw. But I don't know how long this luck is going to run of, whenever there's a wreck, it only involves 2 cars. I still think the big one's going to strike at some point tonight. So maybe they just want to hope it's not before halfway, and if it does happen that early, that they're not in it.
Yeah, again, for these first 36 laps, it's been fairly organized, and yeah, it's just been organized. It's been, even though Talladega is known for chaos, there are always some times of pacing around and riding around for the under green flag conditions, because who knows what might happen for the end of the race. Set yourself up for these other green flag runs. Alright. Caution number 2 of the day. So we've doubled the amount of cautions that we've had from yesterday, but there was only 1 caution last night.
Yeah, usually we're saying that from 10 from 5, but
yeah,
not 2 from 1.
Here we go.
Green flag, green flag.
Green, green, green.
inside's pretty disconnected. Only Parker White and Garrett Hess really went there, as Benjamin White will take the gap there and put himself down to third on the bottom. As I don't think Bachman got going that well. And you see once again, because of all the people that came down and topped off, that back half of the field disconnected once again.
Drivers shuffling in and around as 3 wide around this back half of the field as Brody Gardner sort of screwing around. Up front, though.
Here comes Tyler. He's got help from Grayson Trexler in the 54 in that Bills scheme. Those Bills won their first playoff game in 25 years today, so I guess congrats to all the Bills Mafia members out there. We'll see if Grayson can maybe park it in victory lane here tonight, but right now in the top 5, so he's doing a pretty good job of getting himself in a position where he could do that.
Look at this big disconnection around where Brody Gardner is. Number 55 sort of semi-screwing around, but toward the rear. My goodness, they're starting to stack up 3 by 3. And this is around where Brian Mullen, AJ Bain, Joe Berge is.
Looks like Benjamin's dropping to the back from the top 5 right now in that 13, or into 36. Just
Whoa!
Whoa!
Not clear, not clear.
And Hess forces the issue, and he'll take the lead. And the 084 Kyler Wynn gets left out to dry as Trexler and Kevin White are, and more contact here with Owen Miller. A whole lot of contact here in the tri-oval. And they're going to go 4 wide. Almost 5 wide briefly, I think. And they're still 3 wide at the line. I don't know what in the world all that was. But they're all good for now. But they're still 3 wide here in the middle of the turn.
They're still trying to shove it 3 wide. Some drivers on the outside are trying to shove themselves in. Trexler is just pinching the ever-living crap out of that 13. Hence why he's probably getting left out to dry and nowhere to go for that 54, so he'll drop to the rear. Meantime of that, though, for that 777 to Garrett Hess, to the front he goes. You keep it for long.
That was a weird sequence, but thankfully it didn't result in an incident. There's David Bachman in the 84. He's up into the top 5 now for the first time tonight. We'll see if he can get himself perhaps up into the lead, but he's got 2 pretty good cars in front of him that he's got to get through.
Big separation from 17th on back. These drivers toward this area. Around, looks like the 21, a Poindexter who's fixed his damage. 42, Cole Williams. All these other drivers sort of trying to get organized and catch this front pack.
Unfortunately, Carson's still many laps down, though, from that incident. So I think at this point, that 21 is just hoping that more people end up retiring from the race as it goes on. And if more people retire, he can just stay out and try to pass them all and try to gain as many positions as possible, despite being 6 laps down.
Up front, 777 to Garrett Hess, led by the Weeb squad. Right behind him, the 095 of Parker White, who has been winless this whole entire season. His whole iSCAR career has been winless. And speaking of win, no pun intended, Kyler Wynn up to the high side. He too is winless. So a lot of winless drivers right behind, as well as David Bachman, and the only winning car inside this top 5, who has a W this season, Nick Miller, and he picked it up at Chicagoland in the first opening weeks of 2021, or of 2020, the iSCAR season.
Yeah, I have to remind myself sometimes that 2020's last year too. It happens.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're coming up on a slower car. I think that's Hunter. I think Hunter's trying to do the same thing that Carson is, where he's trying to stay out there as long as possible and just hope that more cars retire from the race. But you see how slow Hunter is without that front end, so it wouldn't surprise me if that engine expires before the night's over as well.
Yeah, I was going to work up to the high side, nobody to work up with them, though, unfortunately. But you see how that high side is sort of lurking at a diagonal angle. That's pretty typical of what the high side would do, and it leaves a bit of a trail for anybody to really side draft and make that third line a thing. As looks like the 50 of AJ Bain. Not sure about his situation, but he's currently not being displayed out on the racetrack right now, so
Don't know
Sucks
what
for the
happened
number
there.
50, but up front, though.
Crawford makes a move to the bottom, and that's going to disrupt the high side, as Trexler will have to get up to the back bumper of Miller, and it didn't take long for him to do that, but he's going to take it 3 wide instead of latching onto the back of that 95. And with only one car behind him, they're not going to go much of anywhere.
Trexler!
And Miller thought about it, and Diallo's going to leave out Trexler now, so the 54's going to left out to dry again. But now Miller jumps up there with Kevin White out of turn 4. Diallo's up to the back bumper now of the 084 at Kyler, so he's trying to push the pole sitter back to where he started now across the line here to complete lap 43.
Try to stack up on the high side and gun for this top spot. Diallo works up to the high side a bit late. That disrupts that outside line, and back to the front goes the 777 of Garrett Hess. And the man who gets shuffled off of that was the 84 of David Bachman. He now files back in line in front of a bright numbered car. That looks as the 13 of Kevin White Jr. as he's about to get squeezed.
Still good for now, but you see how even now those two lines are, as they've been able to get themselves back together. And Kyler's going to make another run at it here across the line with help from Diallo. But it looks like the 777's going to lead it at the line. But you see that outside, it's really starting to come in now. But can they get enough of a run where Kyler can clear out of 2? Or down the back?
Not really sure if, 5 cars is enough to make the outside line work. But the question is how organized is that inside line going to be compared to that high side? And where the run's going to be timed as well. So for Kyler Wynn, sort of a waiting game and sort of mirror driving as well. Mirror driving in terms of when that run's going to be coming right behind, but it looks like he has nobody. Now Trexler works himself to the middle.
And Diallo's left out.
Oh!
Now Kyler's left out.
Oh!
Back up there, and a car through the grass across the line. That's the 53 of Nick Roten.
He needs to get a black flag cleared.
He was in the top 10, but now nowhere near it. And he's still trying to gather it up now.
What a save, though, but
1 and 2, but man, that could have been disastrous.
He clipped pit road, so he needs to get that black flag cleared by an admin or somebody. He probably is going to get it cleared. Oh, another Conning apron. That's Benjamin.
Yeah, they're getting dicey now as they lap Hunter again.
Benjamin luckily has that second pack to rely off of to get back in the line. They're going to have to take it 3-4 wide around him, though.
Yeah, with Hunter still back there as well. But thankfully, the 12 is staying up there. I think that's a blinker. That's not someone spinning. We've seen quite a few cars blink out, so it's easy to assume that that's a car spinning, especially, of course, at a track like this. But here comes Blaze Crawford again with help from Diallo out of 2. Garrett Hess is at a good, has been leading that bottom side now for a good 5-6 laps. But now the outside's getting a good shot from those 3 cars up there, and this should allow the 404 to clear into 3.
Indeed he does so. So Blaze Crawford, new leader. He's already led
Diallo
6 laps of the day, but now here comes a new name into the picture. That's the 18 of Omar Diallo, getting a push from Kyler Wynn, and now that outside line is starting to roll forward, and I think the 18 is going to lead his first lap under green.
It's going to be close at the line, but I believe the 18 is going to get it, and indeed he does. And we'll see if he can clear down to the 1, and there he goes. The new leader here, Omar Diallo, who's already won, I believe, 2 cup races this season, or at least 1 cup race. He's won in all 3 of the top series so far. So this would, I believe, be his 4th win so far this season if he can get the job done here. As he now hit right at the halfway point now, too.
That is right, and you are correct. That number 18 of Omar Diallo, he won the Cup Atlanta race as well as the Cup Charlotte race, so 1.5 mile king on that side, but on the other side of things, picked up a victory in the Truck Series at, I think it was Richmond when they went there, so.
And Diallo leads here at the halfway point. You see the outside's kind of non-existent now, besides Kyler and Grayson. You got to go a bit further back to where Frank DeAngelis in the 69 is. So for right now, I think those top two are going to fall to the back. But just as I say that, Garrett Hess decides to jump up there. Actually, that was Diallo trying to get the lead back from Blaze Crawford. So an interesting move there by the 18, but it looks like that's going to lose him the race lead for now.
You also see where the second line is running. They're not running traditionally where the track marks it down as a second lane, but they're running on that dotted line, trying to pinch down that inside line as much as they can. The tri-oval widens right here, so that inside line in the tri-oval is way skinnier than what that second lane provides. And usually as the cars who are running on the inside, you're right up against the... I wouldn't necessarily say you're right up against the yellow. You typically want to run a foot off the yellow to maybe have a cushion of momentum for something to happen, but yeah, the reason I say that is you want to keep yourself off the apron as well. 404 Blaze Crawford is right up against the yellow. He has to, and you see right there, Garrett Hess sort of trying to follow him in the mix of follow him through, and he tagged the apron doing it. So if you want to be right up against the yellow line, you got to be really, really precise.
Yeah, you don't want to hit the apron either, because if you hit the apron and you come back up, that could be big trouble. But yeah, you want to try to stay within those white lines, of course, unless you're trying to side draft. Of course, that's what they're there for. But Diallo trying to get a side draft, speaking of, on that 404 to try to retake the lead as Blaze led that lap at the line as they're coming up on Hunter again. And I think Diallo might be able to clear here into turn 3. They're getting a big shot from him down the back. Or not quite.
Not quite, as the 21 of Carson Poindexter finds a slot in line, as the 1 of Liam Sheen works himself up to the middle. So
yeah, if I'm those guys around him, I might want Carson to get out of the way, because you have to remember that Carson is 6 laps down in all likelihood and in no contention to win the race, even though he's of speed. But, you know, lapped guys in the middle of the pack isn't always something that people might be too fond of. But as long as he's up there still maintaining the pace, I don't see much of a problem, but other people may see one there.
Yeah, typically, usually when lap cars become a problem is when they're third, second, or first, and of course in front of the line. Because when we saw it during one of the Daytona races, there was a lap car playing a big role on how they raced around. They were sort of using a lap car as a pick to race around him, and sort of like a semi-moving chicane, so it's an advantage for all these other drivers to play around, but of course they could go right back at you in terms of blocking you.
As Diallo clears to the bottom side in front of Blaze Crawford, so the 18 now back to the lead, and that really disrupted the outside, which is now led by Kyler Wynn, but Hess is going to take a look up high, and he'll jump up there, so now he'll be leading that high side, and it looks like they're going to be coming up on a couple of lapped cars, as Crawford and Diallo also move up high. So now the outside looks like it's a bit dominant, but now all three go back down to the bottom. And the lapped cars are split up. They're not together. One's down low, one's up high. This is going to be tied out of 4.
Wow, will move himself to the
wild.
apron.
Well, I wonder how Wild got there, and actually he's going to pit. I don't know what happened with Christopher Wild. He was about to get lapped and then pit, but that was odd. Something must have happened that we didn't see with him.
Meantime of that, we've hit 41 laps to go this time by, so if you want to hit pit road, I'd say you want to hit pit road around 35 laps to go. A lot of contact being made.
Whoa.
Some cars going left and right. Berge flies all the way to the apron, but unfortunately he's going to have to find a hole to get himself back in the line. They're going to be 4 wide and a 3.
He's got a hole now, but that's going to hold up the bottom a bit, and they're still a bit dicey here in the middle of the 3, but it looks like they're starting to get it situated again. As Crawford leads the bottom out of 4, Diallo jumps back up high with Kyler Wynn and Grayson. Another close call.
I think in my opinion, seems as though the top 3 of Crawford, Diallo, and Hess, as well as Kyler Wynn, they're really the people who are controlling this this front pack, this top four have just been shuffling just about, and they're the only cars who've been really able to control that top spot. And people like Grayson Trexler, Parker White, even though they're still inside this top 10, they've yet to lead a lap, but we'll see what Trexler can do now. He's the first car on the high side, and we are approaching a couple of lap cars as well as looks like Nick Roten in the 53 did get a clear on his black flag.
Diallo back down to the bottom again with Kyler as they lap the slow car of Hunter. You see a couple more slow cars here, one of them being Christopher Weil, who just came off of pit road. So it looks like Chris is going to go at least 2 laps down now. And again, I don't know what happened with the 41 at all, the points leader, but it looks like his car isn't too damaged. So I don't know what may have potentially happened, but a rough night. It looks like he's going to go actually 3 laps down now. And they're coming up on another one as well in the tri-oval, but he will go up high and be out of harm's way.
It's Poindexter who hit pit road with Weil. With Weil. Even more lap cars starting to play a factor, but these lap cars are probably going to latch onto the tail end of this lead pack, but what these lap cars are doing is they're providing that inside line with a bit of a pull. See, these lap cars are going to be on the apron with AJ Bain and looks like Brian Mullen. They're going to actually hug bottom. No, never mind that. Now AJ moves up to the high side, but Mullen is going to hug the bottom. They might have to split it 3 wide. And this is going to be dangerous.
Held up by him. Look at Kyler Wynn. He got completely screwed by Brian Mullen there, and he can't go anywhere, and he's going to drop a ton of spots. And now he's on the apron, and they're all over the place again out of turn 4 as the 084 continues to free fall out of the top 10.
And that's just two separate decisions being made. Not in fault of Mullen and AJ, they're just holding their line. And that in result really shuffled this top 5, and now into the picture, Connor Brandon out of nowhere. He now works in the second.
Yeah, that 92 out of seemingly nowhere. Bit of contact between him and Blaze as the 404 dives down to the bottom. Burgee makes a daring move to the apron there in front of Mullen. And now Connor Brandon leads that high side. And who's that second car up there? Is that I think that's Malachi Drake, but I think he's a couple laps down.
Malachi is a couple of laps down after... I'm not really sure why he's a couple laps down, but in the meantime of that, now new names starting to work themselves into the picture. That whole entire high side is fairly new. Jack DeAndrea, James Youngman, of course the 90 and Malachi Drake, not really a factor, but for Connor Brandon and that number 92, now leading this high side charge, but unfortunate for him, that lap car is not playing him any favors, not really pushing that 92 to the front.
Yeah, DeAndrea, one of those that advanced from the LCQ, so this is a great run for him, as he's effectively gained like 40 spots almost since the drop of the green. So good solid run for the 028 as they're going to come up on another car. That's the 69 of DeAngelis, and there you see they all make a move up high to get around him. Hopefully nobody gets stuck behind him like Kyler did with Mullen on the previous lap.
They're starting to pinch down that lap car. They might take it just about 3 wide. Yes, indeed, they will. So Connor and DeAndrea nowhere to go, as looks like Frank is going to be able to latch onto the tail end of 4th place. And there's 2 lap cars racing for this lucky dog. That'll be the 9. I mean, no, it looks like is a 60. No, the 90 is.
Yeah, Malachi's 4 down.
Yeah, he's 4 laps down.
I think Malachi may have gridded up late. Because I think he was 4 laps down and almost like at the beginning of the race. I think that 90 was a late gritter. But DeAngelis now, I think, just lapped for the first time. So, unfortunately, that 90 probably not going to be in any contention for the win, just like Poindexter, who's 6 laps down. And there he is with Kyler Wynn, who's now finally slotted himself in line, but it looks like now back around 15th.
Yeah, so the fight for the lucky dog is going to be between the 17 of Mullen and that number 69 of Frank DeAngelis. The question is, though, when is pit road going to open? It's open this time by. Who's going to be the first takers to go onto pit road right now?
I don't know if people are going to come in there yet. We'll have to get another refresher for race analysis of when the fuel window is. It looks like it's 35 to 40, so with 33 laps to go, that's a tight squeeze in terms of, potential green-white checkers that could occur. So I don't know if we'll see anybody pit yet. I think people maybe around 65 or 70, I think is a more reasonable time for people to pit, depending on what lap it was that they last came down.
I think some... Was that AJ Bain in the 50? I'm not really sure. It was a blue car. It might have been Cole Williams, but...
Almost
oh my gosh! That was a...
4 wide into 1 almost.
That was nearly a wreck. Berge was trying to slot himself in line, and that was near disaster right there.
Oh, and a big move there by Diallo down to the inside, and another close call. We've had so many close calls here tonight, but thankfully another one that does not result in a wreck. And there's Diallo trying to shoot it up the middle all on his own. Tyler Wynn now back up into the top 10. He's going to get some help to Diallo, but Jack DeAndrea says I want to give it to him first, and now that's going to leave Garrett Hess out to dry.
Yeah, so the man who's led the most laps is now left out to dry. He'll be joined in by the 21 and Poindexter on the high side. Now DeAndrea is sort of he's peeking up there to the high side, sort of contemplating his decisions, as Hess is still trying to pinch down that number 28 of Eric Heater to stall him out. But as I said, that whole outside line is at a not really running in line like the inside is, because that inside line has a reference point of that yellow line. If you're that outside car, you're sort of following to the right a bit of the cars in front of you, and Hess is he's able to pick up a draft, as you mentioned it, at number 69 of D'Angelo's on the apron.
And we mentioned pit stops a couple minutes ago. Depending on what lap these guys decide to come in, those guys on the outside need to get themselves down onto the inside so they can get themselves down pit road, because if they get stuck up there while people are trying to pit, they're going to end up on perhaps a different strategy than the one they were trying to use. So for them, if they want to pit in the next 2 or 3 laps, it's imperative that they get down there now.
Yeah, I find it interesting that, oh, we're coming up on a lap car and we're 3 by 3. We're going to have a 4-wide scenario here in a moment.
That's Keplinger, and we're good for now. Oh, no, we're not. Uh-oh, they're inside of each other.
Wow, I cannot believe that wasn't a wreck.
That was the one time that netcode is a good thing, because those two cars
are
inside of each other. Blessed netcode, as Diallo thought about going low, but Blaise Crawford was already there in the 404, and DeAndrea trying to stay tucked in behind the 18, but almost got shoveled out there by Kyler. And man, another close call. We can add that to the absolute laundry list of close calls that we've had here in the duration of this race. And at the line, it looks like the 18 is going to get it.
You could only have so many close calls, though. One non-close call could result in a 30-car pileup by the next lap. And Hess is still holding up strong there. And that 777 now is joined in by the 21 of Poindexter to maybe push that outside line forward. They're not really going anywhere, though. But in the meantime of that, based off the run, halfway, I mean,
yeah,
they're halfway through this run of where they started on the green flag. So they took the green flag on lap number 60. If you want to pit halfway, it's right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're all going to stay out. I think at this point they might be trying to stay out till at least lap 70, which is what I thought they might do. But will some people maybe try to stay out even past lap 70, maybe stretch it as far as possible? Looks like Keplinger in the 60, he's already a lap down, and he will take his car down pit road. So in terms of winning the race, he's probably done, but there's still plenty of time left for, crazy things to happen and maybe getting some spots back.
Themselves down, coming into turns number 3. Diallo holding middle. Not going to be able to clear that high side. Clear that bottom line where Blaise Crawford currently resides at. And Garrett's able to slot in 4th in line on the high side after being trapped 3 wide on the high side for a fair amount. But as I mentioned, that inside line is straighter than that second line, and it allowed Garrett Hess to sniff up a bit of a draft to get himself in the line.
Still side-by-side at it, too. Diallo hasn't quite been able to pull ahead, as the outside is so, not really disconnected, but just a sheer lack of cars up there. Only about 4 or 5 versus like the 10 or 12 that the inside line has, so they can't quite get a good enough run on those guys, especially now with DeAndrea a bit disconnected. He might get shoved out, but finds a way to get back in line. And looks like nobody's going to come pit yet, so it'll be at least another lap. And I don't know how much longer these guys plan on staying out. There's only around 27, 26 laps to go now. And we've been green for, I think, since lap 33. So we're now starting to get into the underside of that fuel window. So I think now in the next 3 or 4 laps, we're going to see quite a few people now make their way down.
I think those drivers on the inside have to be those for the first wave to come down on pit road. They got to peel off at the right time to get themselves situated. The question is how these drivers on the high side can fare out for that second wave. Andrew's going to wash up high. Maybe if the 028 could get back into line, he maybe might have a viable shot to get himself situated for pit stops, but it's coming in soon. They could pit anywhere right now and make it all the way to the end, but for right now it seems as though these people are stretching the fuel mark, which I'm very surprised about.
Yeah, I still think more of these guys need to start getting themselves down to the bottom.
I mean, if you pit a bit later, that's less amount of fuel that you could slap onto the car. So I expect a 2-tire pit stop, as well as I would say 15 or 14 gallons of fuel.
Well, I think we'll have some fuel-only takers too. There's definitely going to be some people, I think, that elect not to take any tires.
That's going to be dangerous, though. The reason I say that is you're not running any restrictor plates here. And usually, typically with a restrictor plate engine, the revs are lower and the torque is lower on the car as Michael Rosero finally pulls out a line. But while you're shifting through the gears, you're having more torque on the rear end than usual, which results in tire spin. And that in turn could create a whole different scenario if somebody spins out right up off of pit road.
Yeah, definitely something to consider as these guys make pit stops, but it still wouldn't surprise me, though, if we see some people elect for fuel only. It'll remain to be seen, as we're now at 24 to go at the line, and I think we're starting to see a couple more people. Here we go. That's a good amount of people, and we're going to have to make sure no one speeds or spins, and Diallo's going to lock him up. Hopefully that's not a speeding penalty for him, but it looks like 6 or 7 cars elect to pit, and that's going to put Kyler Wynn now back in the race lead.
Now, since we're having separate packs pitting, the question is who could get reorganized the fastest? In my opinion, I think the first group on the pit road will come out as the first drivers on the racetrack, because we had the pack a bit sporadic there. These drivers have to reorganize themselves as these other drivers are as that other group is pitting. So, in my opinion, I think you want to hit pit road ASAP. And here we go, another wave on in.
And we see a couple more people stay out. They're almost full wide into the pits. This is going to be close.
Oh, Bergie!
And DeAndrea, the two of them make contact. And DeAndrea gets himself into his pit stall, but hopefully doesn't have much by way of damage from that. And that's going to put Benjamin White in the 36 up into the race lead. And he's got his teammate Carson Poindexter in front of him as Wild goes another lap down. Sartaj Mon now in the second for the meantime. It looks like 10, 11 cars still yet to come down pit road. And another close call with DeAndrea and Bergie. There's been so many of them. Like, there's been at least 5 different things that have occurred that could have been wrecks, but somehow have not been.
Here comes the third wave.
He'll come down, and there's...
Oh, wow. Like, Brody, late entry on in. He might hit... that's speeding. That is speeding and a half. Yeah, that was a very late decision to come down, and the cone goes flying. So that's going to probably be the end of the night in terms of winning for Brody. And I don't know who this is going to cycle out for the lead. Kyler Wynn, but he's all by himself. But he only took 10 seconds of fuel. And question is, can he make it enough? Yeah, now he's a sitting duck with Diallo and company right there behind him. And now look at how separated this whole pack is. But I think in the next couple laps, a lot of these guys should be able to form up together and make a much bigger pack. And now here are the leaders coming off
Looks like Sartaj and Mitch have both gotten by Benjamin White, so bit of a slower stop for the 36. And it looks like Kyler's already been caught here.
Comes the
There
leaders.
they go. And that's Diallo to the lead. So this is going to be a very separated pack now.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the first group on the pit road could shuffle out as those first drivers out on the racetrack. So, with Diallo's case, first driver, this whole pack, this whole top 4 were the first people on pit road. And they got reorganized better than everybody else since those other 2 waves were sort of separated at the time of it. But because they got such big of a lead, I wouldn't say they're sitting ducks necessarily. It's just a matter of how 6th place could get regrouped and get a charge in for this top spot. But it seems as though there's only 14 cars in contention as of right now.
Yeah, and again, hopefully, I guess for the viewers' sake, they can all get themselves together and this becomes a much bigger pack. But for right now, you have a 5-car breakaway for the lead up front, and it looks like 2 more cars. So Sartaj Mon and Mitch Hobbs, by staying out longer, they're now 6th and 7th when they weren't even in the top 15 before. So a good call by the 2 of them as well. And they're within reaching distance of these top 5 as well. So depending on how this race shakes out, that could potentially be a great call for the 2 of them.
Look how fanned out they are. There's just pods of them everywhere. Nobody really, wouldn't necessarily got organized, but, well, I mean,
There's Hunter
I just
again.
said it. I mean, nobody outside this top 15 got organized enough. And in turn, you see the result of why communication is just so key, and strategy as well.
And Diallo still leads. 19 to go. And it looks like Sartaj Mon and Mitch Hobbs have caught these top 5. So you got looks like now an 8-car breakaway as Liam Sheen and Cole Williams have also. So this has gone from a 5-car lead pack to a 9-car lead pack. And we got a couple of them now jumping up high to make a second line.
Yeah, so
It's Kyler and Liam.
I mean, we got another line right behind them. There's a line of 6 right behind this big pack.
I think they could definitely catch, and then another pack around 6 as well. So that's what I'm talking about. Could eventually get a much bigger pack of maybe 20 cars or so, but it's going to take probably another 4 or 5 laps for them all to come together.
Oh, so that outside line got disrupted. Kyler shoves it 3 wide, and that is going to even kill the front pack's momentum even more. So if I were Kyler, I would tag onto the rear end of that number 92 and just follow him through just to get that second line going, but because of that,
pack caught him.
Yeah, the second pack caught him, so, or they're still sort of back there.
And then a pack of 4, and then a pack of, looks like another 4.
Another 4.
So this will become 8, and probably a lap, and we'll see if those 8 can catch, like it looks like the 15 or so now. So in a couple laps, this could quickly become a pack of almost 25 cars, but they're still almost single file for the most part.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not double file. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's faster to be double file than it is single file. Total contrast of how real-life physics work, but here in the sim, side drafting isn't really a thing. It's not so much of a variable that it'll slow down that main pack. So, if you have 2 lines going, you're forcing in 2 lines of momentum. And if you only have 1 line of momentum, you're only going around, I'd say, 180, 190-ish? I'd say 190-ish, but if you have 2 lines formed up, you'll then have 2 separate lines of momentum start to be pulled forward, which could result in the pack speeding up to around 200 miles per hour. Now they start to stack up double file.
Yeah, I was wondering when more cars would start to go up there, and indeed we have more. Another reminder that Malachi Drake is 4 laps down, so even though he's second up high, not second. Oh, and another close call, and no, there goes D'Angelo. Oh my, don't tell me they saved that. What?
Another save! Oh, James is still sideways.
He's still trying to gather it up. That's James Youngman rather than DeAngelis.
And that's Uric as well.
Another close call, but that's going to really disrupt, I think, that second pack. But I mean, we've had close call after close call, and another one here in turn 4.
Yeah, and now...
Cole Williams involved as well. So I don't know what the deal here is.
Oh, James just...
Ooh, he just came down.
Yeah, just came down and...
Oh, wow.
Cannot believe. That's really nice awareness by the 42 of Cole to fling it to the grass.
That should have been 2 or 3 different wrecks, but somehow wasn't one at all.
And this, in turn, has separated this main pack just a bit. And now they've all resided to the second pack, so I think this second pack may have a chance to catch this this top pack.
Yeah, I think those packs are together, but of course that contact has separated them again. So we'll see if they can get themselves regrouped here quickly.
And in this scenario, I'd say the second pack is more dangerous than this first pack. This second pack is getting more antsier by the moment to get themselves realigned and have a chance to gun for that top spot. But right now, it's just not working to avail. But I mean, you have the 10 and the 36, Benjamin A. White and Nick and Delicato. They've actually pulled away from this second pack. They broke away just a bit, but none of them are now working together because it looks like the 10 guy.
Side by side. That's not good for them.
Whoa! Crawford!
And another close call.
Cannot believe it. And now this disrupts the front pack even more. As they're 3x3 in the background, so this is going to drag the back half of the field together.
Yellow all the way up high. And he's going to get left out now. And that's going to put Parker White to the lead and Liam Sheen now into second.
This is a godsend. That disruption by Blaze Crawford has, in turn, sucked this second pack together. So now a pack of what was 12 cars has now turned into a 19-car field. 13 laps to go.
Here comes Brandon up high for the lead. With Kyler Wynn and Cole Williams. Actually, that's Michael Rosero in the 23. Where'd he come from? He's still blinking, though, unfortunately, but he's up there now.
Man. Connor has a nice pusher, Kyler Wynn right behind him, but Kyler's been tentative to take it 3 wide multiple times. So Connor just needs to pinch Parker White, or else that would happen. See, Kyler is sort of out of line, but he's keeping himself there enough.
And here comes Brandon again up high. I don't know if he's going to get Parker White at the line as they're going to come up on Christopher Weil again. And I don't know what precipitated that, but a rough night for him for sure. I think he'll still keep the points lead, but not the night that 41 was looking for. And Liam actually led that lap at the line in the 1 who's now leading that bottom side. And I think that second pack has now caught that first pack.
So yeah, now it's going to be a scramble as Kyler, as I mentioned it, he's going to split it 3 wide, and to the back goes the number 92 of Connor Brandon. Rosero's going to have a hole right behind.
He takes it.
And he takes it, and we'll see the 92 can slot in behind Diallo, and he does so. So now coming up on more lap traffic as cars just hug the high side barrier. That's Eduardo Munoz.
Poindexter again, 6 laps down despite being third on the bottom. So this might be a deal where since he's third and on the bottom, they might want him to get out of the way on the backstretch.
Oh man.
I'm into 10 to go. Time's running out as well.
That's right. Oh man, this is... As the laps wind down, the intensity rate's going to ramp up.
There's Mullen in the 17. He's about to go a lap down, unfortunately. They're still 2x2 here for the lead. Looks like 3 rows deep. And that second pack starting to form up a bit more. The stragglers towards the back still trying to catch up.
Whoa, Brody's around.
Is
that going to be a caution? Not really sure what happened there. Looks like he got spun.
Oh. And what a great save, though. Wow. And is that Clappert?
Yeah, that was probably Clappert. So
Tough
no
break
caution
for
there.
Brody, though. And add that to, again, the insanely long list now of things that probably could have been cautions, but somehow weren't. And it's quite a lengthy list, as Parker White now clears for the lead here into turn 3 in front of Liam Sheen. Now Kyler's going to lead that high side with Diallo. Coming to just 9 laps to go. It's closing time here at Talladega, so I think this is where we're really going to start to see that 3 wide start to happen.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to go up and set yourself up for the white flag, it's now. And you're going to see some more aggressive moves being made. Parker, here we go. We're starting to see some blocking for the lead. Parker tried to fend out Sheen, but looks like it was to no avail. Now Sheen leads the high side.
Yeah, Liam trying to take the win away from that 095 who started this race in second place. Parker White still trying to win here in iSCAR. As consistent as he been, has not quite been able to get himself into victory lane, but he's in prime position here, coming to just 8 laps to go.
Oh, man. Diallo works up to the high side. Connor, he's sort of following him through, but Diallo got back in line.
And so does Connor.
Oh!
I'm still surprised they haven't really decided to take it 3 yet. Only 8 to go. Remember, this is the distance that the LCQ was. And, you know, of course, if that big wreck didn't happen, 3 wide would have probably happened almost immediately. But now with only 8 to go, this has to be where the 3 wide starts to happen, right?
It's just a question on who's going to take the bait. I think the outside line is a bit indecisive on when they want to go up there and make it work. Everybody on the outside is really fanned out. Nobody really trying to make a third line work except for Bachman and Malachi Drake. Except for Malachi Drake's case, he's a lap down, but who knows? Again, lap cars could play an effect and be valuable in this scenario. That's one more car on that high side than what it were to be by yourself.
7 to go. And Sheen clears down to the bottom. And still no 3 wide yet, but I still think we're going to get it before this race is over.
I think until 5 laps to go, or like 3 laps to go. They might be waiting until everybody gets themselves organized. But up front, though, it's been a race between Kyler and Liam, as well as Parker and Omar. Nobody outside of this top 5 or outside of this top 10 has really been able to make a charge.
And I think Liam might be thinking about trying to come up and block the high side, and if he's going to, I think he waited too long, and now Kyler's side by side with him at the line, but Liam still leads now with just 6 laps to go.
Parker has to be mindful of his temperatures. Don't get them too hot, as well as Omar in the same boat as him, but Omar's doing more than what Parker White is. Of course, you're going to have to push a bit more on that high side. More asphalt up there than down low. Still side by side. Who's going to take the bait to go with 3 wide? It has to be, in this scenario, instead of like the truck case scenario, it has to be somebody outside of this top 10 to make it 3 wide. Liam throws the block. Kyler working all over him. If there was a time to take it 3 wide, it would have been now, because you might want to take it 3 wide on Sheen, as Sheen...
Liam with a huge block. 5 to go.
Oh, one more turns, Kyler!
And they saved it again!
A lot of cars dart to the apron in the meantime of that. Liam's a sitting duck, though.
And here comes Kyler again on the bottom. He managed to save that race car when he probably should have gone around. And now Diallo with a big block up high. And we might wreck here, as they're almost contact with Sheen and Diallo, and they're all over each other into turn 3.
Now Connor Brennan is into the mix as they work themselves into 3.
Kyler hits
that
the
big
apron.
Scramble has sort of disrupted this back half of the field.
And they block again. Liam and Kyler moves down. Liam can't block them all. And here comes Kyler to win with a move to the inside. And he's going to take the race lead. Just 4 to go here at Talladega. Contact with Parker and Diallo.
Connor's going to work himself to the high side, but unfortunately for him, it's only Blake Kennedy up there to really make something of it.
Come from? We even talked about him. And another save.
Cannot believe Liam Sheen has been able to fend out this top spot. It's just a matter of time before he gets turned, in my opinion.
Agreed. He can only block so many times, as Kyle's going to give him a big shot there into turn 3. And if he pushes one too many times, that might send that one car around. He's going to be really careful with how he bumps him here.
Liam's playing Dale Jr. right now.
What a push by Blaze Crawford. That's going to put Diallo, I think, to the lead, but won't be enough to clear here into 1.
Oh, looks like Connor nor Parker White was hooked up to the 084 or 404. So they both stall, but into the corner. This will allow Sheen to take the lead, but now the question is, will Kyler pull out of the line to make that to make a pass for that top spot?
Oh, man.
Here comes
and
Kyler.
Liam blocks again.
Go down
Kyler
low, go down high.
Low. Liam blocks again. And,
3 wide.
And now Parker White to the bottom as Kyler gets shoved out of line. And now Parker White's got a chance. Look at their Tajman in the 49 and Luke LaFaro in the 187. Where the two of them come from into this top 10?
If there's a time to shine, it's now.
Near contact.
Parker's all over Liam, and I think this is going to propel the inside line forward again.
There he goes, and
oh!
And there's more contact, and they save it again. 2 to go with Liam leading.
Diallo gets shoved out.
Contact again. Rosero and Miller almost hit.
Liam!
Oh! They almost wreck again. How have they saved it this many times?
Liam is playing with death right now. I cannot believe he hasn't gotten turned, but now
they can't keep doing this. Oh, and Blaze blocks Kyler, and
oh!
Kyler moves to the bottom for the lead.
This is intense.
Are they going to make it back to the line though?
No. Diallo works himself down low with LaFaro.
Whoa!
Oh my gosh, these are pinpoint driving. 3 wide as Omar splits the middle.
And through the trial, the white flag is out at Talladega. We're going to make it back. So
it's one more to go.
Now. Can they hold on or will they wreck? I don't know.
They're going to wreck. I just don't see them making it back.
They were green in the truck race for most of it, and then they wrecked it out of turn 2. They're still good for now, but will they stay that way?
Down the back straightaway. It's all the 404 and 084. Liam's is boxed in line, so no more Dale Jr. from him. Wild works himself down the low side. And, whoa!
Here comes Blaze.
Blaze works himself. He got clear. He got Blake Kennedy.
The 75. Where did he come from on the high side?
Here we go off the 4. They get turned.
Oh, and there goes Liam. Or no, that's Kyler Wynn. And
he
through the trial, Blaze Crawford. And Rosero's going to make a move to the bottom. Huge hit to the outside wall for Bachman. And at the line, Blaze Crawford takes the win.
Oh, my word. What a finish. And that is the 3rd time this season Liam Sheen has come short to a driver at the start-finish line. Blaze Crawford picks up his first win at Talladega.
Unbelievable. How did we stay green for that long?
Wow.
They should have wrecked like 12 different times, but they somehow went green for the last 60 laps of that race. And Blaze Crawford escapes Talladega a race winner. Unbelievable.
Wow. What a move.
Congratulations to Blaze Crawford in the 404. An unbelievable job here tonight. And he will take home the victory. And he'll burn it down here on the front stretch. And unfortunately for Liam Sheen, he comes up short again.
Unreal.
What a race. Well, I can't believe that we've had only 3 cautions combined between the first 2 races this weekend. I would have thought we'd probably have like 12 cautions each or something, but the how clean these races have been so far, unbelievable. And look what it's produced here. 2 incredible finishes.
2 first-time winners this season for Blaze Crawford in that 404. About time he's been in victory. About time he goes to victory lane as the one of Liam Sheen up alongside of him to celebrate.
It's Kyler too.
Kyler a win as well, and man, we'll get a replay of that whole exchange on the white flag.
That was unreal.
Cannot believe they kept it straight though. But here we go. Oh, this is coming to the white flag, so. Blaze is up on the high side. He's getting a huge shot from Blake Kennedy.
Yeah, that 75 had a good chance to win this race, but got left out of turn 4. He did everything right as well. I thought Blake Kennedy coming out of turn 4 had a legit chance to win the race. But a great run for him regardless.
Yeah, so down the back, man, Blake came out of nowhere. And that really set off that whole entire scenario. But man, what a clear by Crawford to go in front of Wynn.
And then here out of turn 4, Kyler, I think, got hooked, or it was contact with Blake and Kyler, and that's what slowed down the 75 and put Diallo up there. And then there's the contact with Bachman's going to send him hard into the outside wall, and they all scrambled wreck behind, but Blaze Crawford survives and takes home the win.
Unreal.
Unofficial results here tonight after 94 laps at Talladega. Blaze Crawford, your first-time winner here this season. Liam Sheen comes up just short again in second. A great run from Micah Rosero. He ends up third. Parker White started in second, ends up fourth. Another top 5 here for Blake Kennedy. And rounding out your top 10, Mitch Hobbs, Omar Diallo, Luke Alfaro, good run for him. Sartaj Maan, and Connor Brandon.
Cole Williams, Nick Indelicato, Nick Miller, Corey Long, William Schmidt, Eric Heater, Benjamin White, Kyler Wynn, David Bachman, Garrett Hess round out the top 20.
Bergie 21st, Youngman and DeAndrea, he's the last car on the lead lap. Frank DeAngelis, Max Zurich, Henry Clappert, Alec Daffin finishes 27th in his first race in almost 2 years. And Bridger Olson, Brian Mullen, and Eduardo Munez round out your top 30.
Brody Garner, Malachi Drake, Christopher Weil, Nick Roten, Carson Poindexter, Hunter Johnson, Seth Rawls, Kevin White Jr., Eric Keplinger, Grayson Trexler round out the top 40.
And the last 3 cars on the grid, AJ Bain, Patrick Moosh, and Michael Bianchini.
What a race from start to finish, and we'll be right back right after this. Still more to come as we get set for post-race interviews for the iSCAR RaceLab Cup Series. Here live on MaxSpeed TV, we'll scoot ourselves to the side and drag in this top 5 right after these messages. And we welcome everybody back here live for the iSCAR RaceLab's Cup Series here live on MaxSpeed TV. Congratulations to that man on your screen. That's number 404 of Blaze Crawford picking up the victory here tonight at Talladega. And what a way to, what a way to end off this 34-lap event. I mean, we didn't accept coming to the line as Bachman hit the outside wall, but either way, what a crazy race, Dewey.
Yeah, and again, we've only had 2 cautions combined between the truck race and this race tonight, which is unheard of, I guess, here at Talladega. But they all did a great job of holding on to their race cars, and that was definitely one of the best races I've ever called here in iSCAR. That was really fun to watch.
All right, we'll go ahead and drag in our winner here into the booth. That number 404 of Blaze Crawford. We'll go ahead and slide him in for his first ever victory here in iSCAR. Blaze picks up the checkered flag after leading 15 laps out of the scheduled 94. Blaze, you got a copy?
I got you.
Blaze, man. Oh my goodness. You played your cards out right there with 5 laps to go. Set yourself up. Of course, you were up front for most of the race, and it looks like it paid off with that gamble.
Oh, yeah. I started up front, qualified 4th, I think. Just ran up front the whole time because I've learned that that's really worked best for me. And no matter if it's leagues, official races, hosted, running up front in these Dega races is just paid out to be the winning strategy. So I had to make sure I got it done tonight.
And indeed you did. So you led 15 laps out of the scheduled 94 here for tonight. And of course, a lot of help went into that white flag by that number 75 of Blake Kennedy, who was sort of laying toward the back, and that push propelled you to the front. And after that, all bets were off as you worked yourself off of 4. What you saw in the rear windshield, and what were you hoping for? I mean, of course you came out in victory lane, but what was your hoping scenario coming off of coming into that white flag?
Oh, yeah. It was, as you guys probably could tell in the broadcast, it was absolute insanity for the last 4 laps. It was great to have people that can run 2-3 wide and make crazy moves and keep it straight. I went high coming to the white flag, and I knew that obviously I could get a run down the back, and what I didn't know is if I should stay up top or go low. And I really thought I'd lost the race going low because I saw the outside just get such a run, but I saw somebody dip out on the person that was leading the outside line once I dropped low. And once I realized that, I realized, man, I think I got this, and got a nice shot from Liam coming through the tri-oval. He didn't try to go high on me, luckily, because if he did, I think he probably had it in the bag.
Up in here for tonight, your first ever iSCAR victory here at Talladega. To pick it up after 15 laps being led, you ran yourself toward the front, of course. And anybody you want to thank here for tonight's event?
Yeah, I want to thank Garrett Hess. I want to thank Parker White, Omar Diallo, Liam Sheen. I don't know who else, but I think those were kind of the main people I kind of worked with during the race. They were some absolute great pushers, absolute great line holders, you know what I'm saying? I got to thank Lito and the boys back at the shop. I got to thank the Star Wars Fan Club. Got to thank Mark Frimpong for kind of spotting me when he didn't realize he was, but he was a great spotter. And I got to thank Marvin Carlos, you know, the men. I gotta thank my parents, you know, because I wouldn't be here without them, you know what I'm saying? And hashtag free Mark Frimpong.
10 for Blaze Crawford in the 404 rounds himself out in victory lane. Congratulations, bud, on your first ever iSCAR victory. And we'll go ahead and see you coming to next race, bud.
Alright, see y'all tomorrow, bro. I tell you what, Mark.
Holy crap. And we will go ahead and drag in second place of Liam Dale Jr. Sheen into the booth. Unfortunately for him, not in victory lane.
Alright, Liam, got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Man, we saw you coming to 5 to go. You were blocking all over the place trying to hold off that lead, but unfortunately just 1 spot short. Anything different you think you could have done, or do you think once Kyler made that move to the inside, it was over for you?
When I got jostled around in turn 2, I thought I was going to hook the field, but that was what did it. I just wasn't clear, and I wasn't going to get clear. I was trying to clear up and get to Blaze so we could clear Parker, and it just wasn't enough. And he was going to get the lead on me anyways. Parker was getting too hot. There wasn't really an opportunity for me to get up because they were on his outside the whole time, so I couldn't really get up. I tried, and, you know, as you guys saw, that was insane, but everybody kept it together, and we were fine, so I don't really think there's anything I could have done differently there. I just did what I could, and it wasn't enough.
Well, you came into tonight 6th in the points, and you end up with a second-place finish here tonight. So that's a huge points haul for you, and it's pushing you closer to potentially locking yourself into the chase. So What are you going to have to do over these next 2 races to make sure you stay in there and can get yourself in a spot to compete for a championship?
Gotta keep my car clean. I know I haven't really been doing a good job of that lately, but I gotta keep my car cleaning. Be fine. I mean, I know I was supposed to cause a huge wreck on lap 3 today, as per some people in the Discord, and I know I was supposed to end half the field's races by half distance, and it's a shame that I wasn't able to do that. I know everybody was hoping I would do that tonight, and shout out to SPM Racing for doubting me, but I'm glad I was able to prove them wrong, and came home with a second. So not bad for an independent, eh?
Channeling your inner Tony Stewart. It's too bad we couldn't wreck more race cars, but definitely a P2. Nothing to be ashamed of here tonight. And before we let you go tonight, any sponsors or people you want to thank here?
Want to thank Mark Frimpong. He got my fuel strategy, so free my boy Mark. Also want to thank Blaze Crawford for working with me in those closing laps. We weren't able to quite hook together to get it going, but thank him. Got to thank Uric Designs and Kenny Creative for painting my race car. Forever Alone. Gotta love that. And all the guys back at TDR, and Riley Thompson, Hayden Pistorius, all those guys, James Walker, that had me on their team and make this whole thing happen. So yeah.
All right, Liam Sheen, runner-up here tonight at Talladega. So close, but no cigar. Hope to see you back here for the rest of the weekend and the season.
And see you.
And into 3rd place goes at number 23 in Michael Rosero, and he had a lot of blinking issues, but luckily for him, scooted himself into 3rd. Either way, Michael, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Michael, man, you were blinking a lot during that whole entire race, but toward the end, you got yourself set up and brung that machine home 3rd here tonight. First off, congratulations on your 3rd place finish and 3rd place run here tonight. And just walk me through that whole entire white flag.
Oh my goodness. Alright, so it was the white flag, obviously. You're going for the win, and then I was just trying to stay on the outside lane because I get momentum off the corner. And just coming to and during the trial, well, there was like a huge checkup, and I was literally just trying to get in the middle, trying to make something work, and it did. It paid off, and yeah, I thought we were gonna wreck there in the trial when I almost I think I almost wrecked the 95, but I was amazed. I'm surprised we didn't wreck like 12 different times the whole race, but yeah, we brought it home 3rd from 38th to 3rd, and that's like amazing. But yeah, apologies to all the blinking and stuff, to all the racers. So yeah, we were able to come in 3rd, and we had a great run.
Yep, that is right. And I'm curious on who you were working with through that whole entire race. You probably didn't have any friends out on the racetrack because you were blinking, but regardless, anybody who were in like a Discord or TeamSpeak?
Yeah, I was in with my BBB racing teammates with like Eric Heater and Luke Lafaro. Didn't really plan on working with them because it's like I'm like blinking all over the place. I was trying to help Malachi get back up there to get back on the lead lap, but unfortunately there was no caution.
Alright, bud. 10-4. Michael Brazzero rounds himself out 3rd after starting all the way back in 38th. Last car in on speed. But before we let you go, any sponsors want to thank you for tonight?
I want to thank everyone that's supporting me, like my team. I thank you guys for broadcasting. Thanks for everyone that's showing up. And yeah, that's it.
Alright, bud. 10-4. Michael Brazzero rounds himself out in 3rd. We'll go ahead and see you at your next race, bud.
Yep, can't wait.
Let's give ourselves back 1 position to Parker White in the 095, who was up front during probably the majority of the race.
Alright, Parker, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, you've been so close so many times this season, but unfortunately just a bit short again. But you had such a great run here tonight after qualifying yourself on the outside pole. Is there anything there you think you could have done differently, or do you think you ended up doing everything you could?
I think I did everything I could. I just kind of tried to send it that whole race. After last night's truck race, I saw how kind of clean it was until that last lap, so I knew that if I could stay up in that lead pack, kind of up front, we'd have a pretty good shot. And I don't think we had a green flag stop until the end there. So I think I know it was Blaze Crawford, and I think it was Liam and I and someone else pitted. So it was 4 of us, and then we all kind of just blew by the main pack there. and that kind of set us up to be in a position for the win. Then I kind of got shuffled back towards the end of the race, and from there it was just whether your friends where you could find them. I didn't really have many friends that were up in the lead pack though. So I think a 4th place finish here today is very solid for us.
Agreed. 4th, nothing to be ashamed of, and you came into tonight's race tied for 10th in the points, so points-wise, this is a big race for you, and it's going to help you position yourself to make the chase. So over these next 2 races, what are you going to need to do in order to keep yourself up there and compete for a title?
I think I'm just going to do what I did tonight, just kind of go full send and just get everything I can out of this car, because I know we have a car to win. So I think we'll be able to make it.
I think your first win's coming really soon. You've shown over and over again you've got the speed. You just need a couple more opportunities to do it. But before we let you go tonight, any sponsors you want to thank here for this race?
Yeah, I have to thank my team at Graph Sim Sport. They gave me a super awesome car tonight. And I've got to thank Bunger Lawn Care and Eel Media for being on board with me on the car.
All right, Parker White, P4 here tonight at Talladega. Hope to see you back here the rest of the weekend and the season.
All right, thank you.
And that was Parker White in the 095 and into the booth. Oh, looks like Blake Kennedy is not in, so we'll scoot ourselves back to the number 89 of Mitch Hobbs, who finishes out 6th here for the evening. Mitch, you got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, Mitch, of course, coming in here as a Super Speedway champion. Did you expect anything different from other Super Speedway events, or was it just same old straightforward shot?
Wait, this is iSCAR? Wait. They had more than half a brain cell? What? Okay. That's alright, that's pushing it. But yeah, that was a great race. I mean, thoroughly entertaining as a driver, and even watching it at some points. It was clean. I mean, they should have died at least 15 times within the last 5 laps, but you know, we don't talk about that. It almost happened last night too, but almost got caught up in one of those incidents. I got into the back of Malachi. I had a really good pit strategy. Me and Sartaj were able to get on and off pit road really quick and catch up to those leaders. So it put us in a decent position. But, you know, I ended up getting a good run on the outside, cut through a bunch of cars. I think I went from like 11th to 6th and lost out on 5th by half a splitter. So, I mean, that was a really fun race to be a part of, which is quite surprising coming from an iSCAR Super Speedway race. But, you know, sometimes we can have good things, I guess.
Yep, that's right. Definitely a change for the better right there. With only 2 cautions here for the night after 94 laps of racing, but it turned out to be an interesting one. You got separated just momentarily. I think you were in that second pack trying to get regrouped and such like that, but just walk me through after pit stops on how you guys were just trying to communicate with each other and regroup.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be working with a bunch of the SBM guys, so Sartaj and I were able to get on and off pit road pretty quick, and I think we came out, I got on his bumper, and we were only about 1.2 seconds back, so you need to get about 8/10 to really get the draft, so I shoved him around for about a lap, and we were able to get back up into that front pack, and, you know, it seemed like every time we'd have it straight, they'd start almost wrecking, so more and more packs kept on catching up, so, you know, I thought we were going to have cautions multiple times, but kind of laid towards the back, found an opportunity to start going to the front with a few laps to go, and just kind of picked our way up there, and you know, ended up being 6th. So,
all right, bud. Congratulations on your 6th place run here for tonight. But before we let you go, any sponsors want to thank you for tonight?
No sponsors. Just want to thank a bunch of the SPG guys, or not SPG, SBM guys for letting me work with them for most of the race. It was fun working with them. I know they didn't have results that they wanted, but you know, they at least got almost 1 allied car in the top 5, so we'll take that.
All right, about 10-4. Mitch Hobbs rounds himself out in 6th place after starting himself all the way back. And he looks like he finished where he started. So congratulations on your 6th place finish. We'll go ahead and see you coming next race, bud.
Thanks.
And that is it here from the top of the booth at Talladega. Rounding himself out in victory lane is the 404 of Blaze Crawford. But before we let go for tonight's broadcast, Dewey, run us around with what we have set here for tomorrow.
As we hit midnight here on the East Coast, so later tonight now, we've got the last of the 3 Dega races here this week. The Xfinity cars will take to the track. I'm not sure how many laps it is, but it'll sure to be a good one based off of what we've already seen here this weekend. So at the top of the hour here for Ezeckiel Reyes, I am Dewey Schramm. Thanks for watching.